Welcome to Rubber Duck Off-Road Garage. My name is Grant. Today I'm going to be installing mud flaps on the front and rear of my 2021 Jeep Gladiator diesel. The mud flaps I have chosen are WeatherTech no-drill mud flaps. These are the only ones that I have found as of right now that will work with a diesel Gladiator, because the exhaust for a diesel Gladiator is on the passenger side. So the normal mud flaps from Mopar have a cutout for the muffler. Well, on a gas engine, the muffler is on the driver's side. So I had to find a set that would work. The WeatherTech has the cutout on both sides, and as for right now, when I held the rear one up for the passenger side of my Gladiator, it clears the muffler. So in this video I will show you how to install the front and rear. I've already done the driver's side. Now I'm going to do the passenger side, which is the biggest part because of the exhaust where it comes out and blocking the mud flaps from other companies. First up, we're going to start with the rear of the Gladiator. So the tools you're going to need for the rear is a Phillips screwdriver, a stubby if possible, if you don't want to remove the rear tire. If you want to remove the rear tire, you can use whatever you want. A trim removal tool. This is for pulling out the little rivets that hold your inner fender well on and anything else that you might have to remove. And then you're going to need the fender, of course. This is the cutout I'm talking about. This is where the gas engines, if you buy the mud flaps from Mopar, they don't have the cutout like this on the passenger side. They only have it on the driver's side. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little rag here and I'm going to wipe the dirt and the mud off so the surface is all clean. This is a cleaning wipe from Armor All. Just get as much of the dirt where the mud flap is going to sit off as I can. Then I'm going to take a little rag and wipe it down just to dry it off. Then you need to take your trim tool remover and you need to remove this rivet here and this rivet here, and then there's one of them push-in tabs here that needs to come out. So I'm going to start by removing the little tab inside here. And I broke it. So good thing is I have more of them. You can buy them on Amazon if you break them. I buy a lot of parts on Amazon, so that's the top of it. It just broke off. No big deal. Actually, you're going to be replacing it with a bolt anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Then you got to take out these two rivets. These are kind of a bit tougher to get out, so you just got to do your best to get your tool in there, and then just pry it out the best you can. If it breaks off, push the rest out through the back and you can get it out that way. I'll end up wiping the dirt off again here as I go. Now I get the top one. And there you go. That's that one. You can see how it's a little rivet. Basically it has a stem on it like a normal rivet. These are just plastic. They sell kits for these on Amazon as well that come with a tool. Alright, now I'll wipe it down again. And I'm going to take the rear mud flap and I'm going to put it up in there and see what it looks like. Like so. So on this mud flap there's a little clip here that hooks onto the inner fender well. So you clip that on and then you have one hole up top, the next hole down, and then that hole there on the back. So now we just clip it back up in. hold it in place. Okay, so while you're holding it in place, you're going to take the long Phillips head screw, Phillips head, with a flat washer. You're going to put the flat washer on. And you're going to insert that through the bottom hole. And then put the nut on the back side. Once you got the nut on that one, don't tighten it down yet because you're still going to need to make adjustments to make sure everything lines up properly. Next up, you're going to take a small Phillips head and another flat washer, and you're going to go through the top hole and then reach up through the back and put that, oh, don't drop the nut, but put the nut on the back. And then you're going to take the last little Phillips head, put the flat washer on it, and then insert it through the hole where the push tab was. And then go ahead and put the nut on the back of that one. Once you have all the nuts and the bolts on for the mud flap, for the Phillips and all that. Now, it doesn't call for a 7/16 inch wrench, but I grabbed one anyway so I can put it on the nuts on the back to tighten up the fender flare. So get it all, or the mud flap. So get it all where you like it, and then go ahead and tighten up the screws. Okay, so there's the mud flap all installed on the rear. You can see if I show you down here with some light. So there's the muffler and the cutout I was talking about. So on the gas engine, this is on the other side. It's on the driver's side. So that is why I had to go with WeatherTech, because Mopar does not make mud flaps for the diesel yet. So there you have it. There's the rear. I'll get the Jeep all turned around and we will do the front. Thanks. Now to the front mud flap. So for the front mud flap, we're going to need one extra tool. We need a ratchet with a 9/32 inch socket. And then we also need the trim tool and the Phillips head screwdriver. And the mud flap, of course. That's kind of needed as well. So for this, I have the wheel cranked all the way so you have room to access everything in here, because you're going to need to remove this rivet, and then these two push pins here, and then there's one more push pin down here. It's hard to see with the way the camera's at. It's this little fella right here. And you need to remove all of those to put the front mud flap on. So go ahead and take your trim tool and remove the two rivets here. Like I said, if they break, you can push them out and pull them out through the back side. And then go ahead and pull out your push pins. Same with these, if they break, you can either use a pair of needle nose to pull them the rest of the way out, or you can just push it out the back way. I did good on the other side. I didn't break any of them, but on this side I broke all of them. No big deal. Most of it gets replaced anyway. So now you have to pull the inner fender well back so you can access the two spots in here where those push pins went into. So once you do that, you're going to take a hardware pack that comes with your mud flaps, and you're going to pull out these two clips. These clips push on, and they're what these screws will thread into. You push both of those onto here. Make sure they're lined up with the holes. There's supposed to be another clip that goes right here, so but WeatherTech forgot to send that to me. They sent me the screws for it in the hardware kit. They just didn't send the clip that goes on there. So in that instance, what I did is I just put it back in the inner fender well, and then you take the mud flap and you hold it up and get it up on into place. But first you should wipe it down. Okay, so I wiped it down, and then I take my little cloth here and I dry it off just to get some of the dirt off, so I'm not trapping all that dirt back there. Then you take your mud flap, put it up here, get it all lined up where you like it. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put that screw that didn't come with the clamp up here at the top to hold it in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two here in first, just to get it to hold the mud flap secure. This is where your 9/32 socket will come into play. Just get them in there a little bit so they'll hold the mud flap into place. And then there's a small Phillips head screw or bolt with a nut and a washer, a flat washer. Let's put the flat washer on there. This goes all the way into the back down here, which, like I said, is hard to see. Let me turn my camera here a little bit. So it goes back here. Feed that through the hole, line it up with the body, and then take your nut and put your nut on the back. And don't tighten it real tight, just get it on there to hold it in place. And now I'm going to take the new push pin that they sent with this. It goes in this hole here. I'm going to put that in first to help hold it in place. And then I'm going to put a rivet, like what was in the fender originally. I'm going to put that in the top hole because they didn't send the clip, so I can put the screw in it. So I'm going to put that in there. This is the little rivet tool gun you need. And then you just go ahead and squeeze her down, and boom. So that little nipple that's sticking out there, I'll shave that off when I'm all finished. Now go ahead and tighten up all your bolts. And there you have it. The front mud flap is on and all installed, and they're on all the way around. This is the driver's side. For not being Mopar, they have a pretty smooth fit to them. They almost look like normal Mopar ones. See, this one has the cutout on this side in case the muffler was on this side. They thought about it very well, unlike Mopar themselves. Don't get me wrong, I love my Mopar stuff, but sometimes it's like, why would you do this and not have something to work for it? So there's the muffler, there's the cutout for the muffler, and there you go. So that's it for the mud flap install on the Gladiator diesel. I'll put a link in the description for WeatherTech, so you can look it up and see what other choices they have for mud flaps. They really only have one choice for the Gladiator, but you can take a look, see what else they have. They also sell floor mats and stuff like that. If you didn't get the Jeep floor mats, they sell floor mats. So thanks for watching. give us a like and subscribe.